gentlemen, you are now tuned in to Off the Bench London with your hosts, Malcolm the Milkman Noel and Scott the Visionary Horn. Only at the clubhouse where the game never stops. 450 pints, half-price wings every Monday night. Massive screens, the best staff in the city. Don't forget to like and subscribe from YouTube to Spotify. Off the Bench London!
Cheers, y'all.
Hey, we're back. It's been a minute.
Well,
So
last time we recorded an episode was February 9th. So,
it's our longest break since.
yeah, but like, it's a little different this time because we have a guest today.
We do.
All right. Well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
So, which camera am I looking at first of all? Or are we just shooting the shit here?
We're shooting the shit, but you can also look at the iPhone.
Okay.
Going on.
This one here?
Not to be confused with the other
Android.
So I'm Fidel. I am the owner and operator of Fidel Financial. Been working in finance basically my whole career. Went to school for finance. I had my first internship when I was 18 at an investment boutique firm. But, I grew up my entire life playing basketball. So basketball was my thing for as long as I could remember.
Okay.
And my career came to an end. So I had to find something to make money, and it happened to be in finance.
Okay. What's your favorite team then?
Raptors, of course.
You're
Oh,
just
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Lakers all day.
Yeah.
I grew up being a Kobe fan, though. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Lakers were my team for a while.
Okay.
But I was kind of a dual fan.
Okay.
I find like growing up, most of the people like you're a Raptors fan by default, but then you also support.
But you have
big
certain, yeah.
team. You have some LeBron fans, you have some Kobe fans, but Raptors since day one.
Sure.
I feel like a lot of basketball, there's people that just follow certain players just because they shift around every once in a while. Like, I mean, I guess Kobe's different because he never moved, but
I feel like that's changed though too, because back in the day you had actual loyal players. That's
Yeah.
the team. Like Jordan wanted to play his whole career in Chicago. Kobe wanted to play his whole career, in LA.
He threatened to leave.
He threatened to leave, but I feel like the catalyst for all this was LeBron, man. When he left,
yeah, setting the precedent.
absolutely.
And
And I see this. Every player has no loyalty to the teams, so you don't have as many. That's why I feel like fans nowadays, you kind of just default to the city that you're from,
True.
Yeah.
right? You don't have as many fans who are necessarily just following a player.
I don't know. The NBA now, it's totally different. There is no loyalty, like you say. Everyone keeps moving. You're right. LeBron kind of ruined it for everyone with the decision, but it also shined light on the owners who have no loyalty to the players,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
right? So,
The other day, it's a business, right?
100%. I feel bad for generations now, though, where like when we grew up, Raptors fan. Best memory for me as a Raptors. Well, I'm not a Raptors fan. I'm a Laker fan. But for like Raptors, Vince Carter was my
Oh, yeah.
hero.
Absolutely.
And then hearing the story that him and his cousin got drafted on the same team, not knowing that they were cousins, like those moments we'll never really get again. And
Yeah.
Luka Doncic's now on the Lakers, got drafted by Dallas. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
It's
but
not the same.
when you look at the top two teams right now, though,
Okay.
OKC and Detroit,
Yes.
who both of them have basically built their teams. They didn't trade for them. They didn't pick up a bunch of free agents. They basically because of all the draft lottery stuff. That's why other teams are trying to tank.
Yeah.
Because they said like, oh, well, you can actually build a team by tanking for, I don't know how long Detroit had sucked for. Quite a while.
A long time.
Yeah, real long time.
Long time.
Because it was a process.
Yeah.
Like most Detroit teams.
Yeah.
But it's good that it's actually showing that like the days of LeBron, Durant, and Bosh going together and making super teams, Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, making those super teams, it's kind of dying off.
Yeah.
Like there's been a bunch of super teams that have failed. Like the Clippers, that was a train wreck.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you have these super teams where you don't have complementary players,
Yeah.
That is true.
right? Like a lot of times there can be overlap when you can have putting
Yeah.
players. And if, you don't have,
Mhm.
that synchronicity as a team, then it's going to be challenging, right?
Well, exactly. Because there's nowhere to hide because there's only 5 guys on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's not like like football with like the Eagles, because the Eagles built their super team,
Yes.
but there's so many people.
But it lasted a year, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, once there's more tape on you, people
Yeah.
learn tendencies, bad habits, and so forth. So
Football tends to burn out quick, unless you're Tom Brady.
it's true. Football's one of the hardest ones to win.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, yeah, because one injury that's your year.
Where in NBA, it's 82 games, and then it's playoffs, and it's the best of 7. So
Still less than baseball.
True. Did you catch the gold medal game?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't wake up in the morning.
So I was when I was in Toronto, as I said.
Right.
So I had to get my kid back for swimming lessons.
Fair.
So we were on the road from Toronto.
Serious? Did you have it on serious? Did you hear it?
What? Serious?
Right, so we need.
We're on serious, right? Are we on serious?
No, not yet.
No, see, who has serious? Nobody listening has used this shit.
You can't just like turn everything off and like watch the game later, because immediately as something happens, you
Exactly.
Yeah.
know what the result is, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I watched the game. It was good till the end, and then I just turned it off and went back to bed. I was like, I'm done.
No, actually, we were here at Clubhouse.
Just been ignoring articles about it.
Yeah, woke up early, came to Clubhouse, watched the game.
Yeah,
it was a packed house day or on Sunday.
Yeah, we were talking about that at Palisade. Like they were debating opening early, and they weren't sure whether it was going to be.
Should have.
I told them they should have, but
it was ridiculous. People were standing watching the game. And,
yeah,
they did a breakfast special, and
everybody comes over
by the third period, we were able to get our breakfast. Like that's how many people were here. Like the kitchen was backed up, so it was cool. But if only Canada won.
I know, man.
3-on-3. It's weird. It's a weird way to play hockey.
But all right. Well, first off, before we get into like our main segment, I do want to do a huge shout out to Clubhouse. Obviously, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So cheers to the Clubhouse. 100 Kellogg's Lane. Best case scenario, our sponsor, as well as Milky Way Apparel.
Yeah, don't forget that one.
I gotta throw that out there.
Yeah.
Everything that's come into there. Making the dream come true. And if you would like to be a partner, let us know. Now you're not just here for the sake of just being here. We brought you in for a reason.
It's February, and we needed representation.
I'm right here. You gotta outnumber me though.
Yeah, well, obviously. You always outnumber me. You're way heavier than I am.
Wow. Shots fired. Shots fired. Okay. Since we're not really doing football because it's off season, we're literally pivoting to a new direction. So we have a few episodes coming up with other guests from like a referee standpoint for boxing.
We do.
Like we have some other people coming up on the show. But the one thing I really want to like drive home to our guests is basically, growing up, playing sports, still having that competitive edge, and how like using sports helps you build an entrepreneurship or shows you how you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I wanted to bring home. And obviously, seeing you on Instagram, we are daily with your Instagram posts. It's it drives home the fact of like consistency, and like sending out a message to people, and like, looking at everything you've done, how to bring you on the podcast, because, get some of our followers to follow you and so forth. And honestly, like it's tax season too. So, if we can help you get a few extra clientele on that, right? Why not? So, so do you want to go talk a little bit about your business before we get into everything?
Sure. Yeah. So, I'm the owner and operator for Fandom Financial. We've been in operation for about 3 years now. We've gone through a bit of a business transition where we've sort of gone into partnership with another company, JSM Financial. So now we work in partnership together. So my business partner, John Murray, has been in the business for 40 plus years. And so we kind of joined our businesses together to offer more support to our clientele. So now we're up to, a couple of hundred clients. Like I think we have over 400 clients on our client list right now. We manage over 25 million assets, approaching 30 million. So we're growing super fast.
Mhm.
And, one of the things that we focus on is, of course, tax reduction for clients. But what we do is comprehensive financial planning. So everything from investment management to cash flow, budgeting advice to, obviously tax reduction, and then helping people go through different transitions of life, right?
Mhm.
If you're a young person stepping into maybe growing your family, there's going to be, different advice that you would need to benefit from there. Whereas if you're going into retirement or thinking about how you can eventually pass your wealth on to your kids, those are very different topics that require different kinds of
Yeah.
advice.
Mm.
So we kind of handle our clientele through each different stage to make sure that it's a full comprehensive plan throughout their life stages.
Damn. That's fair.
Sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
You're a busy guy. I don't know how we got you out here.
Well, thank you for taking the time. With everything you're just talking about, um, how did you get into the mindset to like stay focused, with deal with so many different clientele, being able to communicate to everyone? Like, do you have like a playbook that you work on every single day to make sure that you accomplish everything? Or,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it comes down to like organization is key,
Mhm.
right? And one of the things that I preach to everybody is like the number one killer in business is lack of speed. So, if I'm in the process of onboarding a new client, as an example, if I take forever to respond, they're just going to go to another advisor.
Yeah.
Right. And no business is unique that way. I think, speed is everything, and being able to, have an open line of communication is super important, because at the end of the day, people are trusting me with their life savings. So if I'm not responding and I've just received a deposit from somebody, they're probably going to be a little bit on edge and wondering.
Yeah.
Right. So I keep to-do lists. I have like a CRM obviously that I use, and pretty much most of everything that I do is automated. So through my CRM system, it will give me notifications to say, hey, you spoke with this person, 2 weeks ago, maybe you should reach out if you haven't, heard back from them.
Mhm.
So automation, I think, has been major for me, because sometimes, when you have so many different things going on as an entrepreneur, you can definitely get lost in the sauce.
yes.
And you need those automated reminders to help you stay on track of things. That's my key for me.
So what really got you into finance then?
Honestly, it was my mom pushing me into like business.
You need to do something other than playing a game.
Most of my mom's career, she worked as an event planner at Bell Canada. So so Bell used to be the sponsor for like the PGA Tour. So she, the Canadian Open, she was the organizer for the entire thing in terms of like doing all of the stuff from the parties to like figuring out how do we run these auctions, to making sure everybody was where they need to be at the right time.
So she's very organized. Type A.
Like, how much do I need to pay? I can't afford her. But
It's your life goal to afford her.
in the global financial crisis, they had a number of layoffs. So my mom unfortunately got laid off at that time, and she eventually found herself at Fidelity Investments. So now she works as an exec assistant for the portfolio management team. So she was always pushing me into business. She was like, this is a safe career path. Regardless of like what industry you decide to go in, you should study business, because then you can do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a little bit of a push. And then I found that I was super passionate about money. Figured out
Most people are.
I got Jordans on my feet right now. I figured out I could buy a pair of Jordans in grade 9 and flip them for double the money. And that's how I made my first dollars in high school.
Damn.
So I've been investing since day one, since I figured that out.
I like that.
18
See,
years old.
you need to get Jordans.
I know.
You got to get a pair. You got to get a pair.
Oh.
I got a couple pairs. Where are yours?
I'll get that. I'll get this.
You got to get a pair. And from there, so I think what was really, influential for me in sort of my career transition, or figuring out what I wanted to do rather, was I had this personal finance teacher when I went to school in the US, a prep school in South Carolina. And I was playing basketball there, and I had this teacher named Mr. Sell. And he was a retired police officer who turned like a personal finance professor. And one of the things that he said to me that stuck with me was, it doesn't matter what you do for a living, you can retire a millionaire with the right strategy. And I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting to me. As long as I figure out how to save and invest properly,
Mhm.
I can be rich one day. And then we had this class project where we had to do some research on different career paths and why our personal skill sets would align with that. And literally what I Googled was, how can I make the most money? And I think the first things that came up were like lawyer, accountant, and wealth manager. And so I picked wealth manager because I'm like, wealth, I want to be wealthy. Like, what's this about? And I understood that I could use other people's money to make money for myself and also help them make money.
Yeah.
Right. Because from a young age, I always liked, conversing with people, interacting with people, and helping people. And I also knew I loved money. So I'm like, this is super, as like a 15-year-old kid, I'm like, these are two things I love. Why would I not do this?
True.
And then, I just got into the industry shortly after high school. I got an internship at a brokerage firm in Toronto.
Yep.
And that was kind of my first exposure to what it looks like to be an investment advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of continued on that career path.
Nice. Nice. So what kept you motivated going through the training process of doing an internship? Obviously, you're not getting paid to do an internship.
I
And
believe that one was paid.
oh, was it? Okay. Okay. But like, what was like your motivating drive going through like the process, knowing that, the outcome is you'll be taking care of people's money, but like going to school sometimes, you have your distractions, your partners and all them are going out, acting.
Honestly, Malcolm, I think a lot of this has to do with your upbringing.
Mhm.
So growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch TV during the week. It was only on weekends I could watch TV because the focus was do your schoolwork. And once you're done your schoolwork, then you can go play outside. So my parents were very traditional that way, where it was unacceptable for me to come home with less than an 80%. So I knew that like not being successful was just not an option.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. My parents were both very successful in their careers. So I had that benefit that way where I had very, positive role models in my life who told me that if whatever you want to do, like strive to be the best at what you're going to be doing. Right. So when I decided I wanted to be in finance, and I got that internship, I'm like, I have to go all in. And it was to the point where I was obsessive over it. Like I would literally be bringing a finance book to my little cousin's birthday party and I'm sitting there at the dinner table, like reading books. So I was
teaching 8-year-olds how to do finances.
Right.
Wow.
So I think it was just ingrained for me at a young age. I also had, going back to basketball, I played on a number of different teams and I had really positive role models that way, where it was very much on like, every time you're on the floor, like you need to be giving it 100%. It's unacceptable to give 70 or 80, even 80%. It has to be 100 all the time.
What would you contribute to like your playing days that helped you like earn the skills to be successful today? Like on the court, was it like the teamwork aspect, or was it you learning how to tune your ego to accomplish a goal that you wanted to?
Yeah, good question. So I think being an athlete and being an entrepreneur are very one and the same. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the option to not show up to practice. You don't have the option to not show up to a game because you don't feel like it. Like some days, if you work in a corporate environment, you can just call in sick or take a personal day and take a day off. But as an entrepreneur, if you don't work, you're not making money, right? Unless you have some sort of passive business. But for the most part, even if you do, like there's the opportunity cost of you not working, and that's you not bringing in new business, right? So like growing up playing basketball at a high level, like after a game, especially if we lose, we're watching game tape. Like you're not going home to like just like cry yourself to sleep. Like you're focusing on your coach is having a conversation. What did you do wrong and what can you improve so that next time we can actually win?
Fair.
Well, when you look at it like that, you're like, if we lose and then we take a day off, the other team won and they didn't take a day off. So now we're a loss and a day behind. So you keep doing that and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah.
Damn. Now,
like with sports, it does give you that drive. And like, I find because I played sports growing up, it gives me that, you can always do more. You can always just keep pushing. And nobody wants to be the worst person on the team. So regardless of where you are,
bottom 10%,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Bottom 10% always gets cut, whether it's in sports or at work.
Yeah.
So step it up, make sure if you can elevate the right people, help them get up there, then by all means do that. But like, make sure you're up there.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most humbling experiences. And like, that's either going to make you or break you. Like if you're a bench warmer, either you're going to quit or you're going to take matters into your own hands and become better. And one of the best things that my dad did for me, honestly, was I was in grade 8 and I played up on a grade 9 team. So the team that I played for was called St. David's out in Vaughan.
Okay.
And I literally sat on the bench the entire year. Like I was probably one of the better shooters on the team, but at this time I was not athletic at all.
Yeah.
I just was not fast. I couldn't jump. I couldn't defend. But playing with those guys every practice,
Yes.
right? I had to guard the best players on the team.
Yeah.
Some of those guys were on Team Ontario and ended up playing on Team Canada, right? So I was playing with high level dudes, even though I had no business being on the floor, right? But going into grade 9, then I had my growth spurt. Then I got a little bit more athletic and I had the confidence where I was playing with guys who were way better than, you know, my other teammates who I was going to be playing with in grade 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about that mentality.
That's huge.
Well, it's what is it? You're the average of the people you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
So if you're surrounding yourself with, your dad put you in a position to surround you with the best basketball players he knows,
100%.
you're going to become one of them, whether you want to or not, because you're just going to be like, no, it's as long as you don't quit, you're going to keep getting there.
For sure. Absolutely. That's huge.
Now, during those processes, when you're like on the bench and not playing, do you remember what was going through your head at that time?
Damn, I want to play.
Yeah, of course. I also knew, like, I had no business being on the floor either. But when my coach, sometimes near the end of the game, if it was like 5 seconds left, I would be the guy they might pick up off the bench to go and shoot a 3-ball. Like that was kind of my role. I was a shooter, but I just was not athletic at all.
Okay.
So I couldn't keep up on defense. So I'd be in to like maybe hopefully get a shot off, and then they just pull me off when it was time to play defense.
So you got a solid like minute throughout the entire season.
That's fair. That's fair. With that experience, do you think kids nowadays are getting the same opportunities you did? Because obviously now we know kids have social media, so they're making their own mixtapes, trying to get noticed. But like the type of experience that you went through, you're sitting on the bench, you're learning, you have coaches that are role models. I don't think kids really have that opportunity. But like, what do you think about that?
My personal controversial opinion is kids nowadays are soft, and things have changed, right? I think I was like one of the first generations where we had like fair play in basketball. So like when I was younger, I was probably like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. And there was something called fair play where you couldn't just sit a kid on the bench for the whole game.
Really?
At a certain age.
Really?
Yeah. So I think I was one of the first generations of that.
It's like how
nobody liked it, because if you were one of the better players on the team, you're like, I'm getting pulled off when this bomb is coming now to play and lose us our lead, right? So I think kids need to, or I think sports in general need to challenge kids in a certain way. And you're like, that's why you have different levels in sports.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have high level, and then you have house league, and you have somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not good enough to be on the high level team, you shouldn't have fair play. Just put them in a house league team. If you want to just play and you don't care about advancing your career, then just play on a team where you can get the minutes.
It's true.
Right. To be honest, I don't watch kids basketball right now, so I don't know if that still exists. But that was something that I personally didn't like as a young kid.
That's fair.
Well, it's hard because like obviously everyone wants to play, but at the same time, the kids that are the best ones have generally been busting their ass to get onto the court. Like they've earned their spot. So like, yeah. And if you're not getting to play, maybe you should work hard when you're not. Like the game isn't the time to figure it out and learn how to play. Earn your spot at practice. It's like even like in the 1 year I did playing football, I was tiny, but obviously didn't have a ton of playing time. But we all understood, like practice, everyone enjoyed going to practice because you're learning, you're always getting better. And then you see the guys that are playing, and that's what you're trying to get to.
For sure.
And then I never grew, and then I switched sports. So
sometimes you figure out it's not for you.
Yeah.
And then you pivot.
Yeah.
It's part of life.
It's true. It's true. No, I think it's sped up a little bit more because I look at athletes now in the NBA. A great example, and I'm sorry to say his name, John Morant. Explosive player, reminds you of Derrick Rose, but doesn't have the mentality for the NBA, in my personal opinion. Like in the time that he's been, he hasn't really improved his game. Obviously, he has the off-court situations, but he hasn't really grown the Memphis Grizzlies to anything. And I also look at Zion Williams, who was a elementary school prospect, dominant in high school, dominant in NCAA, and then now I thought he was going to be the face of the league, and now he's just like a basic role player, in my opinion.
And the reality is, at a certain level, like skill sets, there's not really a large gap in terms of skill level.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about your mentality once you get to this level. That's why Kobe was that guy. That's why that guy.
Yeah.
Because those guys were obsessive and they were insane.
Yeah.
Right. And certain people didn't like playing with them because they just didn't like how they were treated. But that's what it takes to be great.
Yeah. Well, especially in such a competitive field, you're like, you look at it and how many basketball players are there? How many starters are there? There's 32 teams? 32 teams?
32 teams.
32? So there's 160 starters.
Yeah.
So you're the best if you're a starter, you're one of the best 160 basketball players in the world.
True.
You better have the right attitude. Like when you see them slacking and like
load management,
but like you look at it and you're like, why? Yeah. Like there's think about how many people there are in the world that play basketball.
It's true.
And everyone would kill to have that spot, work harder to earn it.
So for you growing up, it was like that mindset. Like your dad instilled, you're going to be the best 160th person. You're going to be the first one, like the first best one, and everyone else is going to be behind you. But you had to get to that point.
For sure. Like I never had this expectation that I would automatically be the best. I knew the work required to get there. And frankly, I was a lazy kid, right? And it wasn't until a certain age where I'm like, I don't want to sit on the bench anymore. Like when I have that experience every day. So I need to actually start working hard so that I can actually play and be good.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's one of the things that, again, it can either make you or break you. And, especially once you get into high school and you're starting to think about girls, like, do you want, the girl that you're crushing on, seeing you sit on the bench the whole game? Absolutely not. You want to be that guy.
You don't want to get sweaty for her.
But yeah, there's a status thing when it comes to sports. It's like, it could be one of two things. It's either you're going to take matters into your own hands, put the work in, if you don't have the talent, right? Because some guys are just talented, but that only takes you so far. Work ethic is everything.
It's true.
And business is the exact same thing. So I feel like when you pivot out of sports and into your career, it's the exact same mindset that pulled you so far.
Sure. One thing I would ask is, how would you rate your business in like quarters? So, and what I mean by that is like in the first quarter, like how do you evaluate how you're building your brand from like the first quarter all the way to the fourth quarter? And
in terms of like maturity of my business?
Yes.
I'm first quarter, man. I'm in growth mode. Okay. So I launched my corporation, as I said, 3 years ago, right? Like this is a business I'm going to be in forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 30 years old. I have 35 years to go and probably more, right?
Love it. Might even be in preseason then.
Might be in preseason, right? Like I've gone through, the weeds of like going from doing very well, making good six figures, working in a corporate sales environment to making zero as an entrepreneur. And that's how you develop your thick skin, right? Yeah. Because like you absolutely have to hustle. Otherwise you can't put food on the table.
I get you.
Right. I'm very much in growth mode. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get out of that mindset, because that's one of my favorite parts of running the business is like always be, finding new people to help, always be figuring out ways to, streamline the business and improve things. And yeah.
What would you say is your best way of asking for help? Obviously, working on a team, you can't do everything. It's not
calling mom, right?
For sure.
But it's tough, right? Because sometimes our egos get in the way, and sometimes it's hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
As we play sports, like on football, if you're on the line, like I have my objective, but if I don't do my job, the other person can't do it. But sometimes a linebacker will let me know that he's going to be cheating to the left. So then it gives me an opportunity. How do you use that, like your mindset of learning how to ask for help in basketball? How do you use that skill now in business?
That's a great question. So I think the first order of that is understand where your weaknesses are.
Okay.
Because you don't know where you need the help unless you understand where your weak points are. So if you can identify where you're strong and where you're weak, then you're going to know where you should personally spend your time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something called the 80-20 Pareto principle. You've probably heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it talks about, just being efficient with your time, right? So basically the model is, an easy example is taking a look at the number of vehicle crashes that happen on the roads, right? So 80% of the crashes happen on 20% of the roads, right? 80% of your business comes from 20% of your top clientele,
Yes.
right? You should be spending 80% of your time on your top 20% most highly leveraged activities, right? So it's important to understand how to break that down, because if you can say, okay, these are the activities that I could do for this 20% of all of the activities I could possibly do is where I should be spending 80% of my time, you're going to be so efficient and so productive.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to figure out, how do I not ignore the other things? And that's where you need to find the help. So in business, you have to hire people.
It's true.
Right? You can't be a one-man show forever. Otherwise, you're going to hit a ceiling. If you want to scale your business past a certain point, that's why I went into partnership with another advisor. That's why I have an assistant, right? Because at some point I'm like, I'm doing all this paperwork, right? That means I don't have time to be going out finding new business. Or if I'm only finding new business, how am I actually servicing my clientele?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to understand that, I think.
No, sure. Now, pride gets in the way of understanding your weakness, though. So how did you really hone down on what your weaknesses were? Because, like, honestly,
The framework for it is a SWOT analysis,
true,
right? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
true. But did you do it yourself or did someone else do it?
I did it myself. So I had the benefit of working in a corporate environment where they force you to do these things.
Okay.
Right. So I didn't just like wake up one day and understand how to run a business. Like I had many years working in the industry where I was in that framework where we had review meetings with my manager and they would ask me, like, what do you think your strengths are? Where did you win this year? Where could you have done better?
Mhm.
And you take those things into the world of entrepreneurship, right? So I think for anyone who aspires to be an entrepreneur, I strongly suggest you work in the industry that you want to start a business in first.
Smart.
Yeah. Basically have someone else pay you to learn how to do it. Yeah.
Right? And take notes, be a sponge,
Yeah.
ask questions. That's huge.
So when I used to do like the tax consulting,
Mm-hmm.
that's how we would sell bookkeeping and all that all the time. Because I was talking to farmers and small businesses, and I would talk to them and be like, hey, you're a farmer. My money's on you hate bookkeeping. Am I right? And they're like, yeah, I absolutely hate it. It takes me forever every year. How much is your time worth? If it's worth your time to have someone else do this so you can do the things that you want to do, that way you can make more money, and you could probably make more money having someone else do this and going to do something else while you're also growing your business.
Yeah.
And then once you explain that to them, they're like, oh yeah, here, write the check. It was the easiest way to do it. And I was like, and you're just helping them help themselves.
100%. Absolutely.
So on top of business, you also have a club going on. The job. Oh, did you actually?
I didn't have the time for it. I just did not have the time anymore. So this is another thing where I sat down with myself
Mhm.
and, I just had some introspection and I'm like, this is something that I'm super passionate about, but is it aligning with everything that I want out of life? And it was super rewarding, don't get me wrong, but it was taking up a lot of my time that was going to be taking away from my business and my family, which are my number one priorities.
So did you shut it down or did you pass the reins off to somebody else so they can keep it going?
I ended up shutting it down because it wasn't around long enough to be able to, I think, formulate the culture necessarily that I wanted for the club. And I felt that if I was to pass it on to someone else, then
You'd still have to keep the reins quite a bit. Yeah.
Right. So I kind of like put it on hiatus, so to speak, where I may eventually come back to it in the future, but at this point in time, I just do not have the capacity.
That's totally understandable.
Well, I remember when you were talking about that before, I was like, that sounds like a lot. Like, that sounds like a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like I can only imagine like the organizing, like that aspect of it. And like trying to get, I don't know how many people together every like once a week, once a month.
Yeah.
It's like, It's hard enough as it is.
It was 12.
Okay.
And even trying to organize 12 dudes to show up in one place is one thing. And then to get everybody on the same track where we're actually learning skills every week, to stay focused on the skill and the task at hand was challenging, right?
Yeah.
So it was a great club and everybody loved it, but it was a lot of work.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm sure you learned a lot while you're doing it.
Absolutely, for sure.
What would you say for a person aspired to be an entrepreneur later in their life, say 30, 40, 50? What would you say would be techniques that they should be honing, or basically kicking their butt to start doing, that can actually project them into getting to that goal?
If I were to ask you, what do you think is the single most important thing for running a business? What do you think it is?
Time.
I have another answer.
I would say, honestly, getting a business started, mostly networking.
Absolutely, sales.
Yeah, sales.
As the business owner, you are a sales guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that word, but you're selling all the time.
Yeah.
You need to be out and about. People need to know who you are and what you do. If you cannot sell and you cannot convince someone to do business with you, you have no business.
It's true.
Right? That is the single most important thing that's required for success. Right. So then how do you sell? Right? So you have to figure out what is your actual value proposition.
Correct.
So understand how to articulate what it is and how it is you're going to offer value to the people that you're going to be servicing.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct with that. Damn. Yeah. I was thinking in a different aspect with the time concept. Because
time management. Yeah.
Right. Because you have to accept the fact that you may be working 18-hour days some days.
Yeah.
And things that could start as a hobby project takes time away from what you're could be doing.
It starts out as something you enjoy, and then you figure out, oh, I can sell this, and then you get good at selling it, and then you can start paying someone to do all of those other things that you don't want to do, and you can just focus on the selling.
No, you're right though. I think sales is probably the best one.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like literally, every business, sales is the number one thing.
You're selling either an idea, a product, or a service.
Because you can tighten everything else, but if the sales aren't there, the business will fold.
Yeah.
100%.
Whether you're tightening labor, tightening all your controllables, tightening material costs, whatever. Sure. If the sales aren't there, the business goes down. That's why at every business, the sales guys are always treated the best, and everyone is mad at them for it but they're the driving force of the business. If the sales guys leave, then the business is no more.
Correct. Correct. Damn. So then what would you, so I was talking about 30, 40, 50. Sometimes, trying to sell something is hard for some people. So what would you say for those people who are 30?
Yeah.
Because when you're 20, you have the risks sometimes because, time is on your side.
Sure.
But, when you get to the older ages, there's responsibilities, whether you have a kid or, a house, figuring out how to sell. What would you say an entrepreneur, I can't even speak now, entrepreneur would actually need to facilitate that?
Yeah. So I would say, in my opinion, the most ideal times to start a business would be when you're young and have no responsibilities, or approaching retirement when your responsibilities are mostly gone. Right.
And usually at that point, you probably have a little bit of capital that you can put towards it.
Right. And that is, I would say, one of the ideal things that you have in place is have some sort of, savings where you can support yourself if you have no revenue coming in from your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? If I didn't have savings when I was kickstarting my business, I would have lost my house.
Yeah.
Right. Because the first few months of being in business, I probably made $0. Mm-hmm. Maybe I made $1,500 in 3 months. Right. So it was rough. Right.
Sure.
But fortunately, I had savings that I could fall back on and still pay the bills. Right. So I would say having your savings in place is absolutely paramount.
Yep.
And also, I think it's important to understand where your target market is. Right. So understand who are your clientele,
mm-hmm.
because a lot of people I find when they get into business, they're just trying to sell to everybody. You have to understand who is your ideal client to work with. And that can make your marketing so much easier, which can make your sales process so much tighter.
True.
And I find sales has a negative connotation. I say sales just because I'm okay with the term, but some people are like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. Well, sales is just you being able to articulate your value. right? So it's me sitting down with you, having a conversation to say, this is how I can help. I'm not trying to necessarily sell you anything. I'm just telling you about the value I'm offering.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of sales is just listening. Like you're just you're asking the right questions. You're just listening to what they have to say and listening for their pain points or whatever problems they have that you can figure it out.
That's fair. What would you say are the most like mistakes that most entrepreneurs make nowadays, other than not knowing how to sell?
I would say focusing on the areas of a business that are not making you money. I find and I've done some business consulting as well. And oftentimes I'll get questions like, oh, like, how can I optimize my website to bring in new customers? Or what tweaks can I make to my logo to make it look prettier? It's like, that's not making you any money, right? What you need to be doing is going out and talking to people. So I find people get caught up in, so Kevin O'Leary is a guy that I love pretty heavily, and he talks about noise versus signal.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of entrepreneurs can get very much caught up in the noise, but they're not looking for the signal, which is how your business is actually going to make money. So focusing on the wrong areas that are not money-making activities, you can hire someone else to do those those non-money making activities.
True.
You as the business owner, nobody's going to care more about your business than you.
True.
So focus on the money-making activities.
It's true. True. Damn. You just hit us with some like gold right there. Damn. Okay.
Milky Way is going to hit the next level soon.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Now with social media becoming huge,
Massive.
now like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, even Spotify, like
Serious?
yeah, serious. You know what I mean?
I can't remember the last time I listened to
when you buy a new vehicle,
Yeah, they just trick everyone into having it, and then you forget to cancel it.
How do you leverage social media now? Obviously, I see you every day.
Yeah.
Basically, you're in my house every time I have a coffee.
That's right.
I see a new report, but like, is it generating a lot of return on investment,
1000%.
or is it catching bluff? You know what I mean?
So I have people ask me all the time because I don't have a large following, but my Instagram has been monetized from day one. I think within the first week, maybe I had like 90 followers. So there was a period of time. I only got back on social media, I would say like 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And for about 5 or 6 years, I was completely off social media because I just didn't see the value in it. There's no value in me being on other than just like posting stuff for people to give me likes that maybe makes me feel good. But I recognized that it was a missed opportunity for my business, right? And I was seeing how much money people were making online. And I read a book by Alex Hormozy. I think it was like 100 million leads or something like that. One of his books that he has. And he talked about the value of the one-to-many approach. So I was doing some of that. Like I was doing client seminars where I was getting in front of a large group of people, and that was doing well for business.
Mm-hmm.
But when I understood that I can do one post that can take me like less than 10 minutes to create, and I can spit that out to potentially hundreds of thousands of people, like why would I not be doing that? It's a major missed opportunity not being on social media.
It's true.
And it's you're not going to get views from day one. Like it's a process.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like,
we know. We know.
Right. And I only just had my first post that hit like 300,000 like a couple of weeks ago. And like for most of my posts, it's like maximum 2,000 views. And now I'm just starting to do a little bit better.
I think I'm a little old school too, because word of mouth used to be more powerful than paying for advertisement.
See, word of mouth is powerful, but the way social media is, things just gets around so much faster.
Absolutely, for sure.
Like you'll post something and like everyone will see it instantly.
Well, let's put it this way, Malcolm. Almost anybody that I know that I interact with or see like at random, they're like, "Oh, I just saw your post."
Yeah,
it's one of the first things they say to me.
It's true.
So I'm in the eyes of the people that I know and maybe don't know all the time.
Yeah.
How could you forget that I'm a finance guy?
I know. Yeah,
you can't.
Well, and they know you're working.
100%.
Like so they feel like they can try to like, oh, this guy like I can clearly see that he's doing things every day.
For sure.
Well, this is going to lead to my next question. How do you feel AI is taking over social media?
So I use AI as part of my process for social media, like to help come up with content ideation and, sometimes with scripting. But I find it's not like I see people who will use AI for like actually like representing themselves, and
Oh God.
you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the voice and just the mannerisms are just not on. But I think it's a game changer because it just saves you so much time. Like even the apps that will use AI to like help you edit, like those are half decent.
Yes.
So I think in terms of like helping you stay consistent, even helping you create like a content calendar, it can be massive.
Not true.
Well, it just cuts down the amount of time that things take.
100%.
Like whether it's researching something or like writing scripts or editing. Like when AI can start doing those things that you don't want to do or don't have time to do,
Yes.
it's instant.
Sure.
Now, how do you think AI is integrating into the sports? And I'm not talking like high level. I'm talking about like high school and so forth. Like, where do you think AI is going to lead in younger generations when it comes to sport?
So there's someone at the wall for us.
The ghost.
AI in sports. So I haven't looked into this. I'm not enough familiar with it. So maybe you tell me, where do you think AI is going?
Well, what I'm thinking is like game tape. You know, being able to send a video to AI and being like, look at this player,
Absolutely. That's
figure out the tendencies that they are doing, or for some young.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a perfect example, right?
Like,
I
how would I beat this guy?
I can't even quantify in hours how much time I spent watching game tape. Like that's a waste of time. If you could put that into an AI platform where it can say these are the things where, let's say number 24 made these mistakes, you can have an entire report saying this is what this player needs to work on.
Yes.
This is how you can improve.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to sit there for 2 hours rewatching your game. Right? You can have it almost immediately and know exactly what you need to do to do that. That's massive.
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
Yeah. Even like I was talking to a client at work tasting room the other day, and he was doing a golf sim, and he had a recording of him in his swing, and he said he took the videotape and put it on AI and said, "Hey, what can I improve on?" And it spit out all these things, and then he said, "You made one mistake. I'm left-handed," and the AI was like, "Oh, I should have caught that," and then switched everything accordingly. And it's just like for most of it, it was actually like things that he knew he needed to do.
Right.
And then also picked up that his grip was too tight.
Right.
So it was just like AI is getting huge. I know a lot of people are losing their jobs.
It's gonna get there.
But it's getting to a point where it's like it's helping dramatically and speeding up processes.
Absolutely.
So, I look at it in sports, it's like I see that for golf. I can see it for like maybe that's how like Seattle Seahawks were so dominant in the Super Bowl because they shipped all the game tape of Patriots and knew exactly where.
But honestly though, what is their most run play? You don't have to watch it and figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, I can tell you immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Scary. Now,
yeah, you really got to check AI though sometimes because it does things like that, and you're like, yeah, oh yeah,
it's still a game changer.
Yeah,
I use it every single day.
Now, and for your perspective, what's stopping someone from just using AI and taking some of their suggestions and building their own portfolio, where they could just talk to you, who actually has all the tools, years of experience, and the communication with people in the industry? How would you say don't always rely on AI, talk to professional?
Yeah, great question. So there's a few layers there. So first of all, many of the asset managers today are already using like quantitative approaches. They're already integrating AI into the processes to help them find opportunities faster, right? Like the old days of asset management and portfolio management, they'd have boots on the ground, like associates that would be doing all the research, and they'd have to talk to them and be on the phone and basically sift through thousands of companies that they might want to invest in. Now AI can do that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay a guy 6 figures to be in Japan looking for opportunities there. Right. You can just literally use AI.
True.
But I think to your question about will AI take over like the client advisor relationship, I don't think it's quite there yet. I think that's something that's very personal, dealing with your finances, and most people would still rather deal with a living, breathing person.
True.
The other side with AI is you need to have the correct prompt in order to
Yeah.
have the correct response. So if you don't know necessarily what you don't know, then how are you going to get the correct information from AI?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to financial planning, there's so many different variables and factors that can affect the advice. And if you just ask, what should I invest in? You might hold those investments in the wrong account that aren't best for your situation.
It's true.
Yeah.
You-
Well, it depends on like, well, a million different factors. And like,
Absolutely.
unless you're like, there's a reason that when you sit down with a financial advisor, you sit down with them for a while, talk to them, they learn all of the different little things about you before they take your money and put it into anything.
Of course.
No.
They should at least.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that's huge. No. And especially like with a financial advisor, you're sitting there and you're going to take calculated risks based on past experience.
Sure, absolutely.
So,
I find for a lot of people too, like oftentimes when I'm sitting down with, a new client who may want to work with me, they'll ask like, what is your past experience dealing with someone in this scenario? Right. So I can give an actual story or tell an actual story to someone who's dealing with something similar.
Yeah.
And you don't have the same interaction. It's not the same experience if you're just typing something into the computer. Some people like that and they're okay with that. But I think the majority of population still want to live in breathing person.
what advice would you give somebody who wants to manage their own and not necessarily go in the direction of a financial advisor?
Don't do that and call them.
So that's fine. I think that's okay. And, frankly, I've never had a financial advisor myself.
Mhm.
Right. So I went through the hardships of making the wrong decisions myself, which I use as learning experience. But I think, if you have, let's say you're an 18-year-old just beginning to invest, you can probably do reasonably well just buying an ETF, right? A passive index fund and do okay. But once you have more money, that's when you're taking on a whole lot more risk.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where you have to think about tax optimization. That's where you have to think about asset location, meaning what account types are you holding your money in to make sure that you can draw it down in the most tax efficient way later on. You have to think about how can I efficiently pass my wealth on to my kids. There's a lot of factors there that the average person just would not know.
True.
Because you have to know where to find that information, or you would have had to take some courses like a CFP to understand like, what should I actually be doing for my situation?
Sure.
It's not just what's the best investment.
Not everyone is a numbers person either.
That is so true. Not everyone is an entrepreneur.
Like some people, like I've known some people that are absolutely terrible with numbers, but they are great at making money. But because they're good at making money, they don't even care and don't really pay attention to it. Like I worked with some people and they had basically no idea what was in their books, but they were multimillionaires. And you're like, sure. And then some of them, they'd have like one of the spouses would be doing the books and then their wife passes away and now all of a sudden they have no idea. So then you're going in there and trying to clean everything up. But like this guy has no idea about any of the numbers of his business, but he's great at sales. So the business is booming.
For sure. The other side of it too is the emotional side,
Mhm.
right? So if you're managing your own investments, you're going to be more emotionally attached to your money. So a lot of people make the mistake of selling at the absolute wrong time. And there's actually studies on this that says investors that work with an advisor, on average, make an additional 2 to 3% return on their money per year. Right. And that's literally just because of emotional investing. It's not to say that an advisor always makes a better investment recommendation. It's literally that an advisor will be closer to the information
Yes.
of the markets or of the portfolio, that you're invested in. And they're not as emotionally attached to it as you are. So they're able to talk you off of that ledge more easily.
Yeah.
Versus yourself, maybe ask Chat. And I had a client who asked ChatGPT back in March last year when the market's tanked, should I sell everything now? And AI said yes. And I told him absolutely not. And look at where we are here now. And his portfolio is up over 25%.
Damn. Yeah. Well, AI is always looking at trends now. It's
Let's-
not looking
yeah.
necessarily looking to the future because it doesn't have that data yet.
That's right.
Right. So we're only looking at the past and what's happening at.
It's
this
like it's a
moment.
down sell.
So obviously you have future investments, future knowledge, future.
Well, no one has a crystal ball, right? But if you look at history, the trend line is upwards,
Yes.
right? So we'll always have periods of volatility where things go up and down. But if you hold on for the long term, odds are you will make money. It's over a 10-year period. It's over 95% certain that you will make money. As long as you're invested in a diversified portfolio.
And something similar to like the SP 500.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like the client you had that put it into ChatGPT, you don't know what prompt they're using
Exactly.
because they're like, I have this stock. Should I sell it? Like, should I sell it? When is it projected to go up? Should you have like?
And you'll notice sometimes ChatGPT likes to tell you what you want to hear.
Oh, it's such a
Curated.
It's such a yes man.
True. I've had that. I'm asking tough questions. Do you want me to be direct or not?
At least it does that now. Before it would just be like, you could be like, I would like to, I don't know, something completely ridiculous and be like, that's an excellent idea. Should I start a business doing this? Like, yeah, absolutely. Dump everything you have into selling this. Like, what?
It's not realistic.
Here's a business plan.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I'm out of questions now.
You're out.
I'm out.
Holy.
Anything you want to add?
I got nothing.
Okay.
I'm out of questions.
Well, I appreciate you on in this episode. Is there any closing remarks you would like to say?
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
I guess I would say for anyone who does aspire to be an entrepreneur, I think it's a great way of living. I think it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But those who can handle the life of an entrepreneur, I think it's super rewarding. One of the most rewarding things for me is I can stop working whenever I want. I don't have to ask anybody. If I feel like picking my son up from daycare early, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like, taking 3 days on vacation, I don't have anybody to ask and I can work from anywhere. Right.
Sure.
So I think entrepreneurship is massive. And I think in a shifting, economy like we have and in a period where AI is taking over some sectors, entrepreneurship can be a way to mitigate yourself from that risk.
Sure.
So I strongly encourage anyone who is aspiring, I'm all for it.
Appreciate that.
You can't get laid off if you're working for yourself.
That's right.
So true.
Only if you stop.
100%.
Perfect. Well, if this episode hit you hard, make sure you send this to someone that you know.
Yeah.
Don't forget to tag us, like, subscribe. How can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Bronson Friedel.
Perfect. We'll have that there. Sweet. Well, that's another episode.
That's a
Thank you
wrap.
again. Honestly, it's been an honor.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Here,
I keep drinking my whole beer. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And we'll see you soon.